Well, this one's interesting because when I was thinking about it, I was looking back at Legacy and all the stuff that I've done in Chicago, but it's interesting when you think Chicago area. Obviously, I have been down there for numerous promotions, so on and so forth, but the first time I ever wrestled in Chicago proper was a pre-show for Dragon Gate USA. And this didn't even come till 2010. I've wrestled in Berwyn, I wrestled in Midlow, I wrestled in a lot of suburbs, but never in actual Chicago. So, with that said, it wasn't until we started moving into Logan Square later that's when I would actually wrestle in Chicago. And that would be for promotions like when Chikara came through and when I would get to do stuff there, or ultimately freelance. So I was trying to think of my legacy in Chicago, and as you know, I've had a very up and down. Sure, Chicago used to be one of the main spots I used to go to. I made it in the suburbs, Midlow, and so on and so forth. As I mentioned, for IWA Mid-South, I made a lot of attention for me. And then ultimately, when I switched from 2007 from IWA Mid-South to AAW, I was there, and I was at AAW for a while. And the deal was they needed a pre-show match at Dragon Gate USA for John Moxley, actually, and that was me, and I was the guy to do it, and we did it at, I can't even remember what the theater's called, but that was the first time that I ever wrestled actually in Chicago, as far as officially in the city limits. Now, I've talked about this before on my Patreon a little bit, my match with John Moxley. I also find it really funny when people come up to me and they're like, you wrestled for Dragon Gate USA. No, I did a pre-show match for Dragon Gate USA. I wasn't ever officially like on the roster or anything like that. I was, in this case, like again, 6 years in or whatever, I enhanced a match and got John, the whole point was John was in a pretty solid run building up and looked like a killer. And we had our match and blah, blah, blah. And, he went for his move, which is basically, like the waffle iron or whatever. And so it's the, like, I guess what Jade Cargill was using most recently. The issue that happened was there was a board that was up and I smacked my face on it. And that is one of the first times I remember being knocked out in the ring. Because I remember the move and then I remember just being upstairs and like I kind of freaked out a little bit because I didn't know if I took the move and just walked off, or I don't even know how I got up to the third level where the locker rooms were. And again, Gabe, if you're watching this, which I doubt you are, when I was concussed, I really apologize if I bothered you numerous times asking you if the match was good. I don't remember anything of that. And so I just was hoping nobody would tell me if I actually, how I did or if I did okay or what happened. So I didn't know if I did my job. So if I bothered you, I apologize, which is not my intent. But anyway, when you think about that, and you think about that in 2010, all the way to winning the Legacy Championship, being a first Triple Crown winner in freelance, that, and when I say up and down, I gotta always specify that freelance, to me, gave me that opportunity. I really enjoyed coming back to Chicago. There was a stretch where I didn't feel valued. And so when I came to freelance and they gave me the opportunities and when I became regular, that allowed me a lot of opportunities with this. So to build to these moments. So being able to be a former world champion there, which their belt has been defended, so that one qualifies, and then also tag champion, and then now this. So yes, the first ever Triple Crown winner of freelance, but the first time I wrestled in Chicago proper was in 2010, which is kind of crazy to think.